I'm here with Bronwyn Johnson at Wentworth Falls. Thank you for joining us on Radio Blue Mountains, Bronwyn.
Great pleasure, Suzanne.
And we're going to talk about the Blue Mountains Older Women's Network and how they've initiated a project which has, I think, clearly got some fairly nationwide significance. Can you tell me about it?
Yes, well, homelessness and housing insecurity is a topic on most people's lists at the moment because it's a very heartfelt problem in our community. And the Older Women's Network Blue Mountains has developed a program which we believe will support a lot of the people with affordable housing in the Blue Mountains. It's quite a simple project in that it connects home seekers with home providers who can provide affordable housing and suitable housing for women who are over 55.
Right. And is it providing the housing or is it connecting the people?
It's a connection service. We have one goal, and that is to connect our seekers and home providers. There are many other services in the community that support some of the more highly skilled projects in the mountains, with women needing a lot deeper service connection than we can provide. But we believe that through our networks we can attract homes that may not be normally advertised, and we can provide those affordable homes to people, women specifically over 55, with housing insecurity.
Right. And why choose women over 55? What are the statistics about women?
Well,
over
yes.
55?
Well, first of all, we are the Older Women's Network, so we do support and advocate for women, usually over 55, although we don't have an actual age limit. But definitely in the Blue Mountains, there is a faster rate of housing insecurity for women over 55 than there is in the normal over 55 population in Australia. So we're very concerned about that.
Because I have read that it's the older women are the fastest growing homeless
Yes,
group
yes. Older
Australia.
women are the fastest homeless group in Australia, but added to that, the Blue Mountains demographic, it becomes even more of a concern.
Yes, because the demographic up here is, I read that over 50% of the population in the upper Blue Mountains is women over 50.
Yes.
It's an amazing statistic.
Yes.
When you think, because then the rest of it is divided between men and women. So really, probably over 75% of the population up here is women.
Yes.
But with 50% of the general population being over 50.
Yes.
Women over 50.
We are older women dense in the Blue Mountains.
Yes, you do notice that. You do notice that. When I go to the city for one reason or another, I think, oh my goodness, look at all these men.
Yeah.
Where are they normally? They're certainly not up in the Blue Mountains.
Yes.
It's true. They are around, but not in any great numbers.
Yes.
And so how would you define homelessness?
Well, we talk about providing homes for older women, and we talk about affordable housing. And affordable homes are homes that will cost you less than 30% of your income for the week. So that's the target group that we are focusing on. And that can be different things. That can be people who are on a pension of some description, such as an old age or disability pension, or it could be someone who is coming out of a marriage and they have a good job, but they simply can't afford the rent because they're on their own anymore. So it is a wide-ranging term.
So you've already, even before the hard launch, as we call it, with the soft launch, you've put the word out, and already some actions have happened. Can you tell us about those?
Yes, I can. With great excitement, we actually, before our launch, have placed 3 people in lovely homes, lovely secure homes, just in the last month. We're finding the benevolence of people is extraordinary. Once we have started to do our soft launch and people are starting to know about us, we're getting all sorts of different emails. We've got a home, we've got a house, we'd like to help. We've got a bed, we've got a fridge. It's quite amazing. I'm just overwhelmed by the benevolence of our community.
Wow. And I went to the volunteer training program this week, and you're looking for volunteers to do all sorts of jobs. Can you explain some of the jobs? Because my listeners might be interested in volunteering.
Sure, yes. This program is built on volunteers. We were lucky enough recently to... we applied for and were successful in receiving a grant from the Mercy Foundation, which enabled us to employ a program manager part-time, which it's been completely volunteer run up until this point. So she is going to support the program in many ways. But of course we need many volunteers to support her work, and that might be in inputting data. It could be in taking a phone call from a home seeker or a home provider. It could be having a look at a home to see if they are suitable for our home seekers. So there's a variety of skills and jobs that are available, and we are very much in need of volunteers to do those jobs, and we will provide training for those people.
Right, that's great. So these could be people who are doing the computer input of people who've rung in.
Yes.
They could be talking on the phone to people who are in need of housing.
Yes.
What sort of circumstances do you think might emerge for the person who's volunteering to take those phone calls?
From the person coming in, or the
from the person seeking a home.
Look, it could be a very wide range of circumstances. That's what we're already experiencing. We're having phone calls from people who are sleeping in their car, up to people who just don't have enough money to afford the rent up here. So very wide range of circumstances, and that's what they'd be, asked and trained to deal with.
Right, it's sort of like an RSVP matching service.
Well, it has great analogy to RSVP in many ways. It's a connection service, and then they sort of then they're really on their own in a lot of ways to navigate the process.
Yeah, when Julie Ankers, who was one of the founding members of Own Blue Mountains, Julie and I think it was Coralie and Bev. And when they first talked about it, Julie said, let's start this thing like RSVP where we match people.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I was very sceptical. I thought, no, that's going to be a hard road, Julie.
Yeah.
But that was only 3 years ago, 2021, when Own Blue Mountains started.
Yes.
And Julie, unfortunately, had some major health issues, so she wasn't able to keep going. But you've certainly picked up the ball and run with
Definitely,
it, haven't you?
yes, we have. Well, I was an Own member, and I thought that I could make a contribution, and I spoke with a few of the members, and we got together and got started. There's been a lot of obstacles
along the way. What are some of the obstacles?
I don't think people believing that you could do it.
I didn't, and I have to admit that I was sceptical. It looked like too hard a job. But you managed to rope in a nice big funding package.
Yeah, well, I think, we the people that are our team and I have been working together for many years. So we work so well together that we just sort of knew how to pull it together. We know a lot of people and we have a lot of connections, and it's all about people and connections. And we've been able to pull in favours here and there to get things done, and working with people who can support you with grants and other support. So I think we're confident. We've got a program now. Very confident.
I think you have. Who are some of the supporters?
Well, we spoke to state, federal, and local government people who I've worked in most of those places, and a lot of the business community. People like Rotary we've spoken to. Wherever we sort of were able to get help. We've spoken to Link Wentworth, a huge provider of housing. They've been a supporter of ours. And but we also have an advisory committee which we formed fairly early, consisting of groups such as Zonta, and Blue Mountains Council is on that group as well, and they can advise us when we feel we might be going down the wrong path, and they can help to pull us back. For example, the Blue Mountains Women's Health Centre's been great. We've been holding meetings there, and they've been giving advice. So there's a lot of advice out there if you want to seek it.
Well, if you've just joined us, we're talking to Bronwyn Johnson, who tonight, this being Wednesday, will be having a launch of the Housing for Older Women's project. So we're just discussing how it came to be and how it's going to work. And at the meeting the other day, Vent was talking about the secure computer system. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Sure. Well, that's been another gift. We've sought a lot of pro bono offerings, and he has managed to secure a deal with Active Campaign, which costs us nothing, and that's a highly recognised business package for data entry and management. And coming with that is a lot of security and privacy, so people don't have to worry about giving their information. It's entered into the computer and it is secure and private.
Of course, that's a big concern of people.
I can understand that. Yes, I can understand that completely. It is a big concern with all the scamming that's gone on, but our project is very secure and comparable with large company projects.
Right. So that's the information. For instance, if somebody rings in looking for a home, or if somebody rings in with some space in their home, that information is entered and that's secure. Who would enter the information?
Well, we have the volunteers would be entering the information, and that they would, of course, be subject to a privacy agreement. So they would have to sign that and comply with that to be a volunteer and enter people's information. And they would be doing that in the privacy of their home. They won't be operating, or unlikely to be operating at the stage from an office.
Okay. And then thinking about the homeowners who might have something to offer, are you looking for homeowners with something with self-contained accommodation, or a bedroom in their home, a share home, or everything in between?
Well, great question. There's a huge variety of accommodation in the Blue Mountains, and a lot of the houses are rambling and big and have rooms, and they could be a boarder in someone's home, for example, at an affordable rate, and that it could also be a companion for someone in one of those rambling homes. Mm-hmm. We've had people come forward with townhouses. We've had self-contained accommodation in the form of cottages. We've had granny flats come forward. It might be a room in someone's house with its own entrance. So we have lots of different needs. And there's lots of different properties up here. It's a very eclectic range of accommodation in the Blue Mountains, as you well know.
Yes, my word. And are you able to tell me about the two women that were accommodated at the townhouse?
I don't have the specific information, but the concept of it was that these women were not able to afford a large rent. So we connected the women, and they decided that they would be able to share the accommodation and halve the rent. And in these particular circumstances, they had a bedroom and a bathroom each, one upstairs and one downstairs. And it made it affordable for these two women. And that was a real estate agent, wasn't it, that came forward with it?
No, not
at all. No. We found the townhouses. They came to us we through a Facebook site, and the lady who owned and manages the townhouses offered to give us a 2-week window before she gave it to a real estate agent to see if we could fill the units, and we've still got one of those available. It's a two-bedroom townhouse with the same sort of arrangement, and it's around the $325 per person for each person, per week.
If you're a woman over 55 looking for accommodation at the moment, and you would be happy to share with one other person, I assume, and are prepared to spend around about $300 a week.
Yeah.
Because the share house thing is usually young people, isn't it? But this is a whole new concept.
It is a whole new concept, and I think during these times of uncertainty, I think people are probably developing arrangements that they may not have even thought they'd do again or do ever. So I think the main thing is that you have a home and you're secure and safe, and comfortable.
And one of the problems that you were saying at the meeting the other day is that very often people don't want to have pets, and a lot of the women on your books have pets.
Yes,
is this correct?
yes, and that is a reality, because a lot of women are on their own and they have the companionship of pets. There's birds, there's cats, there's dogs, and some people are saying they don't want to take animals, but we're finding more and more that you can negotiate through that with the owners, and people are more understanding and empathetic about people wanting a pet.
Yeah, well, I guess people who are unstable in their housing, having a pet would be very important to them.
Well, it seems to be. Yeah, that's what we're hearing. But I think that pets are becoming more mainstream in accommodation in rentals anyway. So I think that's helping our case in particular.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our listeners?
I'd like to encourage them to get involved in our program, because this is a community program. It's run by the community. We make the decisions about it. We're not constrained by government or bureaucracy. We're doing this out of passion, and people can get involved by providing a home in any way, shape or form. They can volunteer. If there's home seekers out there that think that they might need our services, we are a compassionate group of people who are willing to take phone calls and listen to their circumstances and log them into our database. We mightn't be able to help them that day, and we can't help everybody, but we will try and help the people that we can help.
Right. And so it's women over 55, but if
women
someone's
over 55,
54, that's...
Could be. Yeah, we might sneak them in. But, as we say, we can make the decision. So, we've got that flexibility because of the program, and that enables us to move around and have that flexibility and agility that we might not ever have in other sorts of programs. Yeah.
And one of the discussions that came up was there's been many discussions over the months since this has been growing and getting people on board. But one of the concerns people have is, what happens if it's somebody fleeing domestic violence? How will this program manage that?
Okay, and that is a good question, and one that people will ask. And we have to be upfront and say there's things we can do and things we can't do. And we're not trained in or skilled in supporting people in the domestic violence situation. However, if people do come to us in that situation, we still may be able to house them. It's possible if something comes up, but they would need to seek other support services, and we have phone numbers and so forth that we can provide to those people to find the nearest support available to them.
Right. So there need to be some sample questions for the people who are going to volunteer to be at the end of the phone, for instance.
Look, yes, there will, but remember, the people at the end of the phone are generalist people. They're not specialists, so they can screen phone calls and they can listen, but they wouldn't be able to get involved in deep social issues. We would have to refer people on.
Right. And would the phone numbers of the person who's volunteering to deal with the phone calls, how would you screen that? So that their phone. Say,
oh yes, well you can turn your phone to private mode, so they can't. So the privacy of the volunteer is maintained.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we use one email, which is how at newsouthwalesown.org.au, and that's our primary contact detail for people to come in. Email is a great way to contact us initially.
Right. So can you say that again for
yes,
people who are listening?
Own at NSW. Sorry, can I say that again? How at ownnsw.org.au.
Yeah. So the how is Housing for Older Women.
Housing for Older Women.
Own is the Older Women's Network.
Yes, that's right. Yes. So, newsouthwales.org.au.
.org.au.
Yeah. How at ownnsw.org.au.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right. They can hopefully scribble that down again. I might mention at the beginning of the broadcast to get your pencil ready.
That would be wonderful.
And there is we've been talking about Wednesday night. There's a launch. Can you tell me what's happening there?
Sure, yes. So we've got our committed politicians, Susan Templeman, we've got Trish Doyle coming along to launch the program, a number of councillors, and our head office in OWN. OWN is an organisation throughout New South Wales with 1,200 members and 20 chapters. So the CEO of OWN is coming up to be with us for the launch. We've got a lot of our Older Women's Network members coming along. We've got advisory committee members coming along. And we'll be talking about the program, and Susan Temple will be launching the program, and then we'll be promoting our expressions of interest, which will be on our website, which means people can either go online and express interest in being either a provider or a home seeker, or they can fill it out, print it off and fill it out and post it to us, or we can post a form out, or all sorts of different ways they can connect with us. But the first way to connect with us is through an expression of interest form.
Right. And you mentioned OWN, Older Women's Network, several times, and I know your involvement has been mostly with the How Project, but you're now the president?
I'm the chair, yes,
the chair.
Of last week, which is a role I'm really excited about, and so looking forward to the role. And we have a wonderful group of women, which you'll agree with, Suzanne.
Absolutely.
We meet on the third Wednesday of every month at the Grandview Hotel, and we discuss. We have cups of tea and a little bit of food, but we also discuss many important issues relating to older women, and we dig deep. We get into some great subjects. We've got programs going on, projects around us, and many projects building up. So if you are a woman that feels that you can relate to being older, or that resonates with you, we'd love to see you along. Membership is only $25. It's very reasonable per year. And we also have, we go out on days out, we do walking. It's just a wonderful organisation which is building and building and building.
And the Older Women's Network New South Wales, or is it Australia-wide?
It is Australia-wide, but it's only active in New South Wales.
And so their role is really advocacy for women, isn't it?
It's advocacy and protecting the dignity and rights of older women. Yeah. And we share those values.
And you only have to be 55 to be.
I don't think you can be any age. It's whether you feel that you relate to being an older woman. I think that's what it's about. It's not the OWN program. Sorry, the How program specifically is over 55. Yeah.
And because I took along a 33-year-old to our meeting the other day.
Yes.
And she was most fascinated with how proactive everybody was.
We're very proactive, enthusiastic, lots of great conversation about programs and projects, and lots of enthusiasm, and I can do this and I can do that. If you don't want to do, you don't have to. You can just come along and just enjoy the company. Yeah.
And also, the meetings are usually followed by a fairly lively lunch.
Yes.
We order our lunch at the
glass
pub.
Of wine.
Yeah. And usually about 12, 14 of us.
Yeah.
Hang back there's usually about 20 or 30 people turn up.
Yeah. And it's a great gathering, and I would encourage, particularly I think women who have recently retired and may have a bit of a gap in their life. I think it's a great opportunity. Skills. And that can be a wide range of skills. We're always looking for a wide range of skills, but I think it's a great opportunity to fill a gap for people wanting to connect with all sorts of different women. And it does provide that sort of great camaraderie, I think.
It does. And there's been a couple of the events that I've gone along to, and because I've been in it for a few years now, one of the ones that was a really enjoyable evening was the Vivid Festival in Sydney. We all went down by train. We found a lovely restaurant that overlooked most of the Circular Quay and sat there having our own private display while we ate and drank ourselves merry, and then caught the train home again.
Sounds very civilised.
It was. And then we had a wonderful Christmas party. Were you at the Christmas party last year?
No. I was speaking somewhere on behalf of OWN, actually, so that's why I didn't go. But that was up at the Vic and Albert.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they looked after us wonderfully. So we've had wonderful trips out. And
the Barrel trip.
Yep. Yeah, and we're planning quite a few things, as you probably know. We had a
Yes.
really interesting meeting the other day where people put forward their ideas of what we can do, the sorts of speakers we'd like to have, half-day events, walking groups. So if any of this resonates with you, or if you're a young listener and your mother is or grandmother is over 55, pass the word on.
Yes.
So it's Older Women's Network
Yes.
in New South Wales. I guess they'd find us, wouldn't they, if they haven't quite written down the how information.
Yes. Yes.
But there's also a launch happening on, well, it'll be tonight by the time this goes to air. Who's coming?
We've got about 40 people. I think we could have put a whole lot more people in the room, but we've funded it through our barbecues and so forth. The Older Women's Network, and lots of different people. We've got politicians. We've got our members, our membership, our wonderful advisory committee who consists of about 5 different groups. And all courtesy of the Grandview, who is a great sponsor of ours, to help us to put the event on.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to really thank you for sharing all of this with Radio Blue Mountains and our listeners on Green Thumbs. Thanks, Brian.
Great pleasure, Suzanne.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely good luck. It's
Yeah.
a fabulous, fabulous project.
Yes, thank you, Suzanne.